back again with another episode of the Coach's Corner, man, where we got a special guest, man. We got a guy who I spent some time with, man. We were locker mates back in the day, man. Former teammates back with the old Redskins now, which we call the Commanders now. Goofy, love my dad's ribs post game after we played, all that good stuff, man. We got my guy DY, man. Now with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the director of player development, correct?
Yes, sir.
I was about to say player personnel, but I had to make sure I got it right, though, dog.
Good.
You know what I mean? Well, shoot, man. Like all my parents and players know, man. When we get on the coach's corner, we here to talk real, man. No, none of that fluff stuff. Don't give me those PC answers, man. We trying to get answers for the parents, man, so they know how this thing is like. I wanted to have you on because, man, you got the NFL perspective. Your journey from high school to college, where you came from, being undrafted. Now you working in the person that you can give the whole gamut, man, from top to bottom. So look, let's get into it, man. Talk about just your football journey, man. You start where you came from. You
Yep.
know, you play in that state where football is trash. So I understand it was a harder love for you. But talk about your football journey, man. College all the way to pro. Break all that stuff down for everybody.
Man, I like to think I started in Texas, man. They say everything bigger and better. So I was the
Hey,
giant.
man, you already know what it is, baby.
Nah, it's cool, man. So I born and raised up in Amityville, New York, man. So if anybody knows the small town of Amityville, Amityville Horror, the scary movie, that's my
Yep.
town. Born and raised there. So we grew up looking at the high school, and that's started what I started to go by in high school, which was kind of cool. So that means
Yeah.
I was doing something impactful. From there, got a scholarship, went to Villanova University, where I majored, the double majors in economics and communication. And the reason I did that is I figured, from a communication standpoint, if I could walk in any room and win the room, I won. And then from an economic
Yeah.
standpoint, just learn supply and demand, right? That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing. Networking,
Yeah.
supply and demand. So if you can figure out some of those, you got a chance to be impactful. From there, I played 4 years. I played on defense there, so I was a linebacker for 3 years. Moved back to strong safety my senior year, and then went undrafted to the Redskins. Excuse me, now the Commanders now, but it was the Redskins then.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and was there, went undrafted. I was a tryout guy. So they brought in, 60 tryout guys. They signed three of us. They had drafted Brian Arakpo that year, Cody Glenn, and Robert Henson.
Yep.
Drafted linebackers, ended up being on the practice squad. I got cut 2 times in 24 hours, flew home, flew back the next morning, cut me in the air. Then, I was there for 3 more weeks. They cut me on September 24th at 8:13 a.m.
Yeah.
The reason why they says they had a dude named Alvin Bowen, linebacker, got drafted to the Bills in the fourth round in 2008. He was on IR the year before, so they felt like he was going to be better for what we were trying to do. So, I had a personal vendetta out after that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
man, I worked that finish line for 6 months, man. I didn't have any workouts. It was just stagnant. I had $42 in my account. The Redskins signed me back. I parked my
Wow.
car for 3 weeks because I couldn't put gas in it. And
Yep.
parked it for 3 weeks. You know how it is. You get that first paycheck.
Yep.
All right, I got to pay car insurance. I got to get some food in the room, and then get
Yeah.
some gas in it. But I'm still gonna take this shuttle. So I did that for a while.
Yeah.
Ended up making the team that year. Switched to fullback. Kyle Shanahan, the head coach of the
Mm-hmm.
now moving to offense, and that was the best thing that transpired from my experience on the field. So I always say an experience, not a career. So that was the
Ooh,
biggest.
that's good, boy.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that.
it's real,
Yeah.
and that's why I say to guys now, this is a business every day of the week. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
It's fun while
Yeah.
you're in it, but the average lifespan is what, 3.2 years. So you go from
Yep.
that, you're 25 years old, you're just now able to rent cars without the extra insurance. So we talk about doing grown up
Yeah.
stuff. This is
Yeah. Straight up. Yeah.
funny, but it's real. Like, what are we doing to transition? So that's, getting done with my time there. I was in DC for 7 years. Ended up having a short stint in Chicago and in Carolina. And
Mm-hmm.
Carolina literally told me, hey, we're going to keep you. I was out looking for an apartment. They cut me. And I was like, man, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this no more. So then I sat at home for about probably like 2 weeks. And the 49ers called. Kyle Shanahan, Bobby Turner calls. Hey,
Yeah. Oh, Bobby T.
man,
Yeah.
they said we playing the Redskins this week. We want to sign you because our Kyle Usyk is hurt. I said, man,
Yeah.
I'm there. I was on my way. I was in the airport. John Lynch called
Yeah.
me and said, hey, we got a guy that got hurt in practice just now. We can't sign you, so be ready for next week. And I said, with all due respect, Mr. Lynch, I appreciate you calling. I'm done. Took a job at the league office the next day. And then I was
Wow.
like, I'm done with this process, man. I'm tired of getting denied. I'm tired of going back and forth, man. I had a baby girl at this point, and I had came back from
Yeah.
camp. She didn't really know
Yeah.
me. It's like, I'm done, man. So that's just a little
Ooh.
journey, man. It was wild, but it's been dope. It's been dope.
Well, we got to get into it, dog, because there's a lot what we can get into. And then you was there, man, when I went through my stuff. And by the way, I'm still deaf on my left side, bro. Still dealing with that today, bro.
Man, man,
Yes, man.
man.
Yes, dog. I done been on medications for 10 years. But you name it, I done been to the ringer, bro. So I
Man.
know what you're talking about being done, dog. So look, all right, man. So look, let's get into it. All right. So coming out of high school, all right.
Yep.
And you get ready to go to college, man. How was the recruiting process for you? All right. So for my kids, I got guys who are high level D1, some guys that you may be looking at as far as drafting next year. You know what I mean? Guys that have come through the program, all that stuff. And then you got the guys, man, who are overlooked and they end up being stars later on. So I got a guy, Ismail Mahdi, running back out of Texas State. Nobody wanted him, one of the top rushers in the country. You know what I mean? That process for you coming out of high school, what was that like, man? What was the experience? And if you can go back and if you could talk to somebody, if you could talk to my parents who would be listening to this, what would you tell them about that process?
Man, the biggest question, right? If I knew then what I know now, right? Man, that's
Exactly.
the biggest
Yeah.
question. So for me, in 30 words or less, man, the process, Villanova was the only school that offered me. So
Yeah.
you go with what you get. Now
Yep.
I'm seeing it, to be honest with you, take the visits. And money's gonna play a thing. And let's be honest, NIL is taking off, it's just legalizing
Yeah.
probably.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but I would say you gotta do what's best for you too. You know what I mean? And the
Yep.
process is everybody's gonna come at you, but you gotta figure out what your morals are, what your goals are, what you're trying to get out of this. There's nothing wrong. If you want to play football, that's cool. But you gotta have
Yeah.
something to support it. You know what I mean? That's what I
Yeah.
think to the younger guys now. But for me, going through that process, man. So we got a young dude, Kedrick Golston Jr. out of Virginia, kind of
Yeah.
like mentor to him. Young dude brought him up to the facility last year. Mike T poured into him. He's about to be a junior in high school, and one of the
Yeah.
things I said to him was, "Man, enjoy the process, man. Be present with your feet up because
Yeah.
Georgia already offered him, Tennessee already offered him. Like all these schools have offered him. His dad played, Kedrick. It's his son. He played 11 years in DC, so Kedrick is the D lineman with us, and just going through that process with him, man. It's like, man, all these schools are vultures in a good way. Everybody wants to win,
Yeah.
right? Business.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
you got to figure out what's good for you. And yeah, schools are gonna come with money. That just comes with the process. But deep down inside, man, when you go back, you got to have a degree. I don't care how much money you have, what you want to do, because think about some of the biggest dudes. They have degrees. The Tom Brady's, like all those dudes graduated from school, man. They went back and like Jerome Bettis just going back to Notre
Yeah.
Dame. It's like regardless of
Yeah.
what your accolades are, you can't take a degree away. And that's
Yeah.
the things you want to focus on. If we're fortunate enough to get to that Ben Roethlisberger level, like Jerome Bettis, and be in the Hall of Fame, like I'm cool with that. However, that ain't realistic. I played 9 years and ain't got none of them accolades, but I'm happy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Straight
So,
up. Got
but
got the
it
got that
is.
picture, got that picture, boy, and everything you need. Yeah.
You know
I
how it
feel
is,
you,
man.
bro.
There's 5 players' jerseys in each store, man. You know how it go.
Right.
The jersey
Right.
was
Yeah.
in the store. If it was
Straight
blank
up. Straight
practice
up.
jersey. No, it was an old Sean T jersey. That's how it go.
Hey, straight
Um,
up, dog. Yep.
but the biggest thing, man, I say through that process is just to listen. And I think we don't
That's
listen
good.
enough during the process because we're just so eager to figure out what's best for us as opposed to what's best for the kid and the
Yeah.
development growth of that kid. So I think
Mm.
a lot of schools do a great job. You look at Alabama, you look at like Nick
Yeah.
Saban talk about the graduation percentage at the ESPYS the other night. That was dope to me. Like seeing
Right. Right. Right.
players, he was like, it was about developing the players. And if it's true or not, whatever, he said it, it was dope. And as you see, that's what the guys focus on. But you see all those Alabama dudes going and doing really good things after the game. So
Right. Right.
for me, man, it's going through this process, I always say, and Mike T said this, and I love stealing this line, is how we going to do ordinary things and expect unique results. So
That's good.
why would you be status quo and say that you want to go somewhere, but only do the bare minimum to get to where you want to go? That implies
Yeah.
that in the field and everything after that. So you're going to be a former player longer than you're a current player. And I
Yeah.
guarantee that because I lived it.
Yeah. That's straight up. It's like,
It's
yeah.
just what it is.
Yeah.
Like, what it is, man. But, what you're going to do to set yourself up during this process. And it's just one of the things you got to sit back and look back and say that I do everything that was best for my family.
But that's good, man. Hey, man, you can drop all the Mike T quotes you want because man, growing up, I was a Steelers fan also. That was so shoot, man. This is a treat. My dad gonna try and weasel his way. Hey, man, talk to your boy DY about getting us some tickets, man. I gotta
Hey,
go meet
whatever you
Mike T,
need,
man.
man. We
You
tell
know
them.
what I'm saying?
I know y'all in Dallas. Tell them we Dallas coming to us this year, man. Sunday night.
Oh,
So,
they are? Okay.
coming to us
Okay,
Sunday
okay.
night, man.
Yeah,
So
man, my dad messed around and moved to Pittsburgh, bro. You know what I'm saying? All right, so look, man, we at Villanova. We at a small school, okay? So we talking to the guys that are in the small school. Look, man, what do I need to do? Do I need to figure out how to transfer to get to a bigger school? Man, and these cats really gonna be looking at me. Do I have an opportunity to get drafted? Do I need to go to UFL route now that that's an option? What do you tell those guys? Because you're the one who lived that small school experience and
yeah,
you made it to the league. Man, what are the things that you tell them? What is the advice that you give them, and what can they hold on to going through this process?
Man, if you're gonna be all in, be all in. I think some of us are like, man, we got so many endeavors and ideas about we're aspiring rappers, we're aspiring real estate people. Man, if you're gonna be in football, be in football. Again, be
Yeah,
present where your feet are. And I think too many of the times we talk too much as human beings. Just do it. Just do it. Like we
yeah,
tell everybody what we can do, and then the love language is this. Love language don't apply to football outside of the love of the game. Like I don't want to hear about words of affirmation. Your resume is on the field. You don't need to tell me how good you are.
yeah,
Just play that.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So from that standpoint, I think about just do the little things right, right? Bill Belichick says that all the time.
Hmm.
We can look at a game and talk about two plays that were the defining moments in the games, but what about the third one when the running back could have got a 1st and 10, but he didn't fall for it?
Right,
That people don't even
right.
talk about. You know what I mean? Like the play leading up
Yep.
to that 3rd and 1. So it's just the little things that really you're setting yourself up for life after ball, and attention to detail and goals and tactics and KPIs. Like that's what people are looking for. So
Hmm.
from that standpoint, we just got to be present where our feet are. We got to enjoy the process and take full advantage of the process because
Yeah.
we're looking at, this year I'm gonna have 1,000 yards rushing. Okay, cool. Why stop at 1,000? Why put a cap on where you want to go? Just say you're gonna be the
Right,
best in you this year. Like I don't.
right.
And Danny Smith, the special teams coach, man, I love Danny Smith.
Oh,
Man,
that's my guy, boy.
man,
One of my favorite coaches of all time,
man,
man.
man, we
Yep.
the quotes, man. So the quote I threw at him was, I said this to him last week because we go back and forth with quotes. Man, you can't build a reputation on what you're gonna do. Like, don't tell me about what you're gonna do. Just go do
That's
it.
good, boy.
And and his
Yeah.
and his comeback to it was, and he had a good one. He said, and then he was like, DY, man, it ain't about what you say, it's about what they hear, right? But he said stats are for losers. And I said, what do you mean? It's like when you
Huh.
win, you don't justify why you won, right? You just say I won. When you lose, you're trying to justify why you lost the game. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's good.
And I stepped back.
Hey, man, hey, man, I'm about to steal this, boy. Hey,
Yeah.
man, go on and keep talking, dog, because I'm going to run this back. I'm going to go mess around and say this to my boys, boy.
Man,
That's
hey,
good,
hey,
dog.
some of the things in there, man, like he'll come in. Mike T started the meeting a couple, like we were losing. We had lost to the Colts and we
Yeah,
needed the game. We ended up being 7-7. We was on a 3-game losing streak. We could have
yeah,
stayed in the playoff hunt at that point. We dropped out of it. So cool. He comes and starts the meeting and said there will be no revolution, no blood, no revolution without bloodshed. Like, oh, feel like we're in a
okay.
movie or something. And it's like, wow, just let that sink in. I said, I think he's gonna drop the Drake quote, right?
Right.
So I bet. But man, some of the things that he's saying there, man, like don't seek comfort, don't minimize your role, no excuses, stuff like
Yeah,
that. Like, you just
right.
come back and we can recite the bullets word for word. You know what's coming. He gonna switch up
Yeah,
a couple things within that to make you be like, dang, man, this is dope. Like he got this
yeah.
with the same 10 bullets. And he said, you know why I start with the same 10 bullets every offseason? Because you don't hear me. We're doing the same thing every day. And you
Mm,
still don't hear me. We still jumping upside. We still doing the little things that put you in a situation. Like we talk about situational awareness. There ain't a situation where we don't know. So, for example, we start practice with a period called 7 shots every day. So 7 shots is 7 plays from the 2 yard line. It's like 2 point plays. So
mm.
every time in the game, when a team gets to the 2 yard line or we get to the 2 yard line, 7 shot football. You know what I mean? Like everybody.
Okay.
So it's a culture build. Like it's dope. So we start that, and then obviously in training camp, it's full pass, tackle to the ground, offense versus
Right,
4
right.
3. You got to have a winner, right? So with that, the winner is good, loser is bad. When I say bad, we eating dry chicken or whatever. If you win, and I got to pick a side, man, I'm going with the defense, man.
Right, yeah, create that competition. Yeah.
And they got TJ Watt, man.
Yeah, straight up. Right.
Man, but it's dope, man, to see the competition. And
Huh.
again, adding a fun component to the game that allows you to grow and develop and then prepare you for life after ball. And that's where my role comes in and why it's
Yeah,
so substantial to the organization, I think, because Mike T empowers that role and puts me in a
hmm,
position to lead. And then at the same time, it's life skills. Like when I say life,
yeah,
my first rookie program this year in season is I've reached out to Ford, who's a team sponsor. I connected with our sponsorship team that connect me with Ford. We're going to
yeah,
learn to change tires and use jumper cables. Why? Because at 2 a.m., sometimes you get a flat tire. Most of the time,
right,
who to call besides 911.
right,
Right? So if you're going to change
right.
it, let's teach you how to do that. You might have your kids and need to do a quick change and got a spare. Man, you might be in the
Right.
middle of something. Let's
Yep.
go teach you how to do that. So it's just the small life skill things with that. Which is dope. So again, it's just little things that we don't even pay
That is
attention to.
good.
We did an acting class. I had an organization, the bank or the team sponsor that we use, which is PNC, bringing $1 million cash. Why? Because when you see $1 million cash, you're gonna pay attention to that. Yeah,
Right, right,
was cool, had the cash, and it's like, man, teach the financial education like that. I don't say literacy because we're not dumb. We just weren't educated enough to learn about it. You know.
right.
So with that, man, it's been cool, man. To just kind of be myself on a daily basis, and I'm wearing the Steelers issue sweatshirt. I'm at work, quote unquote, and I'm having fun.
Right.
What am I really
But,
doing?
but damn, dog, I might have to miss trying to pop up, dog. All right, so look, so I want to get into the player development side, but I want to talk about the career first, and
Yep.
then we transition that because all that stuff's gonna fly. All right, so you finally get to the Redskins. All right, you do anything, you make the position switch. I don't want to talk about football per se. I think everybody talks everybody to death when it comes to the football side. I want to talk about, man, this crap sucked, bro. Like, I want to talk about the actual experience, man. So I like what you said. I want to use that wordplay that you said, dog, about you having an experience. What was the experience like of playing in NFL? So one thing I tell my players all the time, I'm like, y'all don't understand, man. This is a business, and y'all got to understand that every single day you fight. It's a fight, dog. And so, what would you speak to that? What would you tell people, man? What was it like for you? Were the days where you like, man, bump this, F this, man, I'm done? Were the days where you like, man, what am I doing this for? Were the days where you happy, you sad, the highs and lows, man? Get into the real. I'm so tired of the cookie cutter stuff. That's why I wanted you on. Get into the real with the parents. Get into the real with the kids. Be like, man, this is what y'all need to know when y'all get into this, bro.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, I love football. I'm gonna just throw that disclaimer out there. I love football. However, the process of football is not fun.
Yes. No,
110
it's not.
degrees, pulling a hamstring, rolling an ankle.
Yeah.
Sounds so simple, getting a cold tub. Like, I don't want to do that. I ain't getting in
No.
no cold tub no more. But the process, it's a roller
Nope.
coaster of emotions, right? It's the best, worst time of your life. And when I say the
Yep.
best time of your life, it's because
Yes.
you're not a dream, a kid's dream. It's fun. You're on a high. People are looking at you. You're a mentor. You're a leader. You're the person in your family that people look up to. Like, it's
Yep.
dope. But at the same
Yep.
time, with that comes the pressures and expectations and the mental health side of things.
Yep.
What am I going to do to be the best version of me? And how do I keep this and sustain this over a period of time? But it sucks. It sucks
Yep.
because you do something for so long. I played football from 6 to 30 years old. No one ever
Yeah.
told me when it was over. No one told me what to experience. I didn't know anyone who lived that life that, where I was, whether in college, whether in high school, whatever it may be. But you feel alone sometimes. And what I mean by alone is
Ooh, you preaching, boy. You preaching. Ooh.
the truth, though. But it's like,
Yeah.
how many people actually live out their dream and love what they do when they wake up in the morning and then lose it? And there's nothing you can do about it. They ain't too
Nothing.
many people that wake up and do that every day.
Yeah.
So when you're going through that process, it's like, man, you say you hear my grind, you say you respect my grind, but you're still asking for something that you know that I can't either do right now or I don't want to do or put me in a situation where I don't want to be in, just from a financial, giving people money or people coming out of the woodworks, but even just the expectation to answer the phone. It's like, man, I was in training camp. I'm in practice from seven in the morning till 10. And then we got meetings the rest of the day. So I'm not done until
Yeah.
9:30. The last thing I want to do is talk on the phone. Like this.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
if your inner circle isn't tight enough to understand that, then I ain't saying you got issues. You just got to put down some boundaries. And
Yeah.
learning to say no early was the hardest thing to tell somebody that you love no, regardless of what it is. And I tell rookies that every year. And it's like, man, my family ain't like that. I ain't got friends like that. It's not that they're like that. People don't have $100 problems anymore. Light bills are $1,000 now. And it's
Yeah.
pressure of you. Like, how do you tell a family member that has been with you from day one, man, I can't do that right now because you see I'm in the
Yeah.
NFL and I'm making $1,200 a week in training camp. It's only 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure this out. I don't have no
Yeah.
like you looking on Madden seeing my contract, but that ain't my money. You looking at what Tom Brady
Yeah.
did, that ain't me. So
Yeah.
I got a family to support. I got a wife. I got a daughter. You know what I mean? Like, and there's certain things you
Yeah.
got to do. Like at some point, you just got to be like, I got everybody, cool. But you got to get to that point, and it's hard to get there. But I would say that the other thing too, man, the pressures of the families, like mom and dad, you don't know what you don't know. So don't
Mm-mm.
pretend to know. And
Yep.
I say that very candid because I, deal with a lot of parents in the sense of, man, I know what's best for my son. Like you don't. You don't even
No.
know a man right now. He's been away for 4
No.
college. You might have been involved
Yeah.
in this aspect. This is a business, man. They don't care about you.
Yeah.
They glad you got him. You better fix him before somebody exposes him. That's just the real of it.
That's good, boy. Oh, that's good. See, man, I tell people all the time, like when you like you got to see a part of it, man. When I miss part of OTAs and all that stuff, and when that stuff just in, you've been doing it your whole life.
Yep.
And then I think it's funny because you talked about the mental health side where you get into it and everybody talks about, you got to have a plan B, this, that, and the other. Well, you also got to understand that we got a short window of time to do this.
Absolutely.
So we all in. I can go be a doctor if I want to. Mm-hmm. I can go be in real estate if I want to, because I can take classes in order to learn that. Yep. This is my finite window of time. Somebody stripped that, dog. That messes with you, bro. Like you were spot on with that. So now, all right. So you talked about the experience as a player. Then we talked about the transition post career, and I know you talked about like the internship, right? With Under Armour, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So now you had the internship, man. You finish your career and you say, man, I'm done. And the big thing I love about that is you made the decision. You didn't let somebody else do that. That if you ever are in the pro sports arena, people don't understand how important that is. I don't think they get how big that is. But anyway, so you transition out. All right. So you headed to Under Armour. What made you choose Under Armour? What field were you trying to get into, man? You went straight into the front office. Why did you go that route?
Yeah, so Under Armour actually was the internship that I did while I was still playing.
Okay.
I did that because I was trying to prepare for, life after ball. It was after my 7th year. And for real, what it taught me, like we spent 3 weeks there. The NFLPA did a great job. There's resources that dudes don't tap into, whether it be the NFL side, NFLPA. I'm gonna just throw that out there for the dudes listening. But I learned how to use Microsoft Outlook. And when I say that, it's like I could text on my phone, but you know how it is. Professionalism is a thing. And then learning how to put time on people's calendars. Those were the top 2 things that I learned at Under Armour. And people laugh all the time. And it's like, now how you know how to check someone's calendar to see if they're free and then to ask them, and I had no idea because again, my life was
good.
That was my life.
That's good.
I learned those, and fast forward, 2 years later, I take the internship at the NFL headquarters, and I already learned how to do that. HR is like, oh, we need to do this training. I'm like, oh, no, I'm good. I'm proficient in this. I'm all right. I'm good.
Right.
I'm good. So from that standpoint, going into the internship at the league office now, I wanted to be in player development, which I do now, but I had to take a job in events. So you do something that you don't like, the job is to get in, and you can always laterally. So the goal is to get in. So I got in there. I was in the events department for 6 months. I was dreading it before I started it. I was nervous because, it's details of events, but we don't know what events is. My job, for 9 years in the league was to walk in the stadium and be pointed in the direction where I'm supposed to go. Now I'm the one setting the direction of where guys go, egress, ingress, all of those things. And the Super Bowl and everything that goes into it. So I had a different perspective. I work with every department. My first job, my first assignment at the Super Bowl was to hand out jackets to all staff. So they had to come into the office to find me. Man, I took everybody's card. I met every SVP, EVP, everybody. Man, I took cards and emailed people that Monday after the Super Bowl and said, man, on break, I just want to tap in, which I met with probably 70 people in the office over the next 3 months. Turn that into a full-time opportunity. A couple months later, people don't hire people who are good at their job. They hire who they like and who they know, who they trust the most. And it's the same in sports. I'm not going to put you in the fourth quarter if I don't trust you. But 2 minutes, I'll put the person I trust the most. And he may not be better, but I trust him.
Trust him,
Trust him. So from that, going there and ended up getting hired full-time, and then was traveling around a little bit, had 16 teams that I was working with. And my job was to really engage and be a resource for players and pour back into, what my experience was. I told you I got cut 4 times throughout the process. It sucked. It was awful, man. Like, here I am, my insurance stops, like everything just stopped.
Stops.
What do I do from here, man? Like money stops coming in. I ain't gonna say that I was living lavishly or living a lifestyle that I couldn't maintain, but that's the other thing. Like when you get this lifestyle, you talk about from a money standpoint, like you have a finite amount of time to make as much money as you can.
Much money as possible.
And make it all. Make what you can. Don't have no regrets in making it. But you also need to network because people will respond to that blue check. And it's not even asking for anything. My rules are to ask for instruction, guidance, and assistance when you don't need it. Because when you're playing, it's cool, but what about this other guy? That's going to be the response. Oh, you're not an active player anymore. Can we get such and such? Versus a guy like, oh, yeah, we could do that. We'll even pay you for it. Bet. When you're done playing, you ain't a brand no more in the sense of what they're looking for. But I knew my brand, and that's what I would say to younger guys. Figure out your brand, your worth, because I knew I have non-negotiables.
Okay. I'm glad you said that because now you made me think of a question because this is what I say to my guys. All right, this is what I say to my parents. I understand academics is very important. I'm not by no means am I saying it's not important, but I need you to understand the leverage you have when you're an athlete. All right, so let's just take college. Everybody, less than 1% of the world goes pro. And then, I mean, that's even less than now. You're talking about NFL. All right. Yeah, there's a moment of time where you're at, or you're always and forever an athlete. I'll always and forever be a Texas A&M Aggie. All right. By me playing football at Texas A&M, that will open up more doors than that degree will per se. Right. Because I have that across my name. NFL will get me in more doors, no matter if I recently playing, retired, or whatever. I got the NFL behind my name. How can I leverage that in order to be effective? And then it goes into another portion of the question. Is everybody so wound up and taught to be the best on the football field? How can I move up the ranks and be the best when I'm a former player? I think that's a lot of what people struggle with too. So how would you answer those questions?
I think you gotta transition fully first. And when I say that is the way you just said it is if you're still identifying as a former player, and I'm not saying that you don't, but if you're still attaching that player aspect of things, you haven't transitioned yet. So you got to
That's
understand
good.
you can't lead a conversation with that. Figure out who you are because now most of the time it don't even come up that I was a former player. And people are like, why aren't you?
Yeah.
I was like, because I'm just more than that. Like that was a part
Yeah.
of my life. That's not my
Yeah.
life. Like that's not
Yeah.
what I want to be. I appreciate everything the game has given me. That is why I'm in the position today. Now I'm going to build a reputation on what I can do for you and
Yeah.
services that I can provide and stuff like that. So for former guys, I would say just figure out. We go back to the mental health aspect. You don't have to be going through something to speak to somebody. Like it's
Yeah.
okay because again, they're sought out professionals. Again, that's a free benefit to you through your Cigna EAP, which is one of those things that you call the Cigna hotline and say, hey, I want to talk about 8 sessions on this topic. They'll find out, they'll pair you with somebody, or you can go to a local service near you and they just have to fill out a form. The process is just that
Yeah.
simple. And
Yeah.
identify where you are in your life because you have to download before you can assess and before you can equip. That's just the reality of it. If you ain't never
That's
downloaded,
good, boy.
if you ain't never downloaded, it's just what it is, man. You holding on to baggage that ain't gonna come back. Like we talk
Right.
34, 35 years old, man, it's time to transition. If you haven't played
Yeah.
for 5, 6, 7 years, like
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard. I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
We still all transition in the ways that we can, but you got to figure out what you don't like while you're playing and while you're younger.
Yeah.
Before you can minimize some of the things. I don't like art. I don't like walking dogs. I appreciate them, but I don't have no dogs, and I know I don't want to do that, so I can eliminate that.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
against starting a dog business, a business and being
Right.
something higher up in there to talk about, hey man, what are we gonna do for this? You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
just something that I'm passionate about money, making money. I'm passionate about that. So
Right. Right. Right.
whatever it is in there, I'm gonna figure that out. But and all in all, I would say you just gotta learn you first, man. Like if you ain't
That's
never
good.
spent time with yourself, it's gonna be real hard to put a plan of action for you to serve anybody else because you got to serve
Yeah.
yourself first. And I think that's where we make mistakes at when we transition and we still hanging on to something that ain't there no more. And then the first conversation we have is, man, I remember when we did this. So you just got to find you first.
That's good, man. That's good, bro. All right. All right. Another question. You're in one of the best cultures in all of football. Everybody use that word culture, right?
Yep.
Um, how would you take what you've learned being in Pittsburgh? Let's just say football, but let's just use Pittsburgh because that's where you are right now. Okay. How would you take what you've learned and you apply that to what you do every day? All right. So everybody talks about culture. The one thing athletes understand, everybody understands being on the team. Everybody understands being one-minded because it's preached no matter where you go. All right. And then everybody wants to throw the word culture around.
Yep.
All right, that's cool. But I don't think people really understand what the word culture means.
Yep.
And I don't think they understand how to apply it to what they do every day. What would you tell the people listening when it comes to that? How can you apply what you have learned, what you have experienced, what has been ingrained to you from football, from sports, period, and apply that to what you do every day?
I think it's aligning with the goals and morals and mission of the company that you're serving, right? So you think about Mike Tomlin comes in, win, lose, or draw. He got the same mindset each day. So my wording for the day or my leadership skills comes
Yeah.
off of him because he's the leader. So what did he detail in his meeting that day that I need to emphasize or
Yeah.
continue to harp on? Just throughout the week, whatever it may be. Hey, we lost this week, man. Let's just talk about where we're trying to go, not about what we didn't do. Like, hey, you know how it
That's
is.
good.
You watch the tape. put that behind you, man. Tuesday, what are we looking forward to? We didn't accomplish this goal, so we missed out on one opportunity. But the next one is awaiting us, and we can't look back and wait.
Yeah.
Sit back and talk about what we didn't do to get to where we're trying to go. Like that's part of
Mm-hmm.
the that's part of the process. At the end of the season, let's look back and say, man, remember when we did this, but how we come out of this? So
Yeah.
it's aligning with the missions and goals of what was set out first. And I think one of the biggest things, two things that I realized I didn't have when I got done playing. That was one, goals. And what I mean by goals is I was so broad and not specific in terms of what I
Mm.
and to be honest with you, I'm a believer. So I stopped asking God what I wanted.
Yeah.
Place me where you see me at.
Yeah.
But with that, the second part of it is I ain't had no hobbies, man. So I started DJing just to have fun. Like I bought some
Yeah.
equipment. I don't want to be in a club. I want to do backyard barbecues. That's my vibe. I like to control.
Right.
So I found a
Right.
hobby that kind of got me through some things. And then, to be honest with you, having a daughter, man, having her in sports, and I'm living through her now, man. Like, everything she wants to do, I'm gonna live that. I'm gonna serve it. Like that's what it's
Yep.
about. And so that was my why of why I keep ticking each day and where I'm trying to go with things. But going back to the leadership aspect, whoever's setting that foundation, you need to follow that. And if you are the foundation, you need to figure out what your goals are, your why, your mission, your goals, your tactics. How do you sustain success? What does success look like all of those things. And I think from there, you just got to understand, where you're trying
Yeah.
to go with things. If you want to be just a normal guy, be a normal guy. That's cool. If you want to be the best at what you do, Steve Jobs' number one rule said, keep it simple. That
Yeah.
was one rule. He had 10 rules. Number one was keep it simple. That's
Yeah.
one. And then be an avid reader. And I say that because
Man. Yeah. Yeah.
COVID taught me so many things, and I don't say COVID was a good thing for us, just because we lost a lot of people and had some unfortunate situations. But for me personally, it made me realize my worth and what I needed to do to be a better version of me. And I needed to read. I needed
Man.
to ask questions. And then I think
Yeah.
the biggest thing is, and this is the number one rule for me, man, find a mentor. Like this,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with finding a mentor, man. You gotta find somebody who's where you're trying to go. I don't care what they look like, green, black, white, orange. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Somebody that's being an inspiration to you, and then you have to seek out a mentor. Mentor ain't gonna come to you. Like they're
Yeah.
gonna come to you in the sense of like, hey, hey, you need to be better with this. Tell me why. We all
Yeah.
afraid, we all afraid of the truth. Every one of us in some
Yeah.
capacity. Don't tell me what I can't do. Tell me what I can do, right? But the growth
Right.
my approach to it is if you're gonna ask me for something, I'm gonna tell you something positive. I'm gonna tell you the truth, and then I'm gonna end with positive because I never want you coming into a situation thinking I'm coming at you, and I don't want you to leave thinking I came at you. So
It's good.
tell
Good
it
boy.
positive.
Boy, you got to be proud of you, dog. Boy, look at you sounding educated and whatnot, man. All right, here's my last question. My last question. And I was gonna end on that one, but then you made me think about something. I'm a player, whether I'm college, pro, whatever. How can I find how can I find my purpose when everybody's telling me to be all in on football? All right, so you go around, let's use like Aaron Rodgers as an example. Everybody beating Aaron Rodgers up in the news, right? Talking about, he goes to those camps, he goes off and does his own thing. People talk about politics, for example, whatever, right? How can I find that? And how can I start preparing for my next move? But yet, I'm trying to make this money. Yet, I don't want to be backlashed by anybody within the organization. You know what I mean? People saying I'm not focused, this, that, and the other. So how do I balance the two? Do I only have the off season? Can I not do it in season? What would you say to that?
Let's say focus on what the goal is at task. In season, yeah, I would say your Tuesdays, you're off, but man, take care of yourself. Again, you got a finite amount of time to live.
Yeah.
Do your community
Mm-hmm.
back if you're gonna do stuff. But your personal endeavors, I would say wait to the off season. You got 3.5 months off, plus the off season. Let's just say you got 6 or 7 months to figure this thing out. Hope from January, if you're done then, hopefully February, but from let's say February, when the Super Bowl ends
Yeah.
through let's just say this week of July, like to figure
Right.
out, you got 7 months to figure this out in terms of
Yeah.
what you want to do. Why spend the next 5 or 6 worrying about that when you could just build on that, educate yourself a little bit more, read, but not focus.
Right.
You have to focus on the task because football is
Yeah.
not one goal. Like, let's not forget, like we get into it and be like, man, I got so many things I need to do, man. Well, you're here to play football. Don't ever forget that.
Right.
Number
Right.
one. And after that, you start, dive. You got a bye week. Hey, yeah, dive into that. Get away from the game a little bit mentally. Go do something that's fun for you. Take a vacation. Learn about a business aspect. But in season, man, you don't need to be worried about those things, man. You need to you do real estate, man, have a property manager that does stuff for you. Unless you
Yeah.
fully you can do that. Why deal with that
Yeah.
stress? Just have somebody do it.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, good, dog. Well, shoot, man. Look, Yeah, look, this is good, dog. We can mess around and go on for 2 hours, man. But I don't know how much my girl is gonna be still, man. They up there running around right now, man. Look, if I want to leave you or let you leave people with this, your parting word. If they didn't hear anything you said today, all right, everything just went over their head. All I need you to do is remember this. What would you tell everybody?
Servant leader. Be a servant leader. Be a servant leader. Understand where you are. Understand where you want to go. Bring somebody with you when you make it.
That's good, man. That's good. Well, shoot, man, that wraps up this episode of the Coach's Corner, man, with my guy, DY, man. I just realized that rhyme, boy. Yeah, with my guy, DY, director, play development, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Man, I appreciate you, dog. And best believe my dad is going to ask you for them tickets, bro. Yeah, that diehard Steelers fan, big dog.
You're
And,
good with me,
and
man.
he going to call you personally, too, bro.
Hey,
You know, where my tickets at, boy? I got these ribs over here, man.
that's
But
what
shoot,
goes.
outside of say what?
I said that's what goes back into the coach ever, man. You got to give back, man, because that's the Rooney way.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's all good. Well, shoot, I appreciate it, man. That's the end of our episode, and we out.
Appreciate you.